Hello, how are you? My name is Bash. The CEO of BASHCOMTECH Limited. I would like to talk about a simple topic, which is actually based on interviews in Oracle. Some of my students went for some Oracle interview and they been asked some basic questions. They complained that the questions were difficult. Some complained that it was they were not composed. Some complained that they were bashed. When actually the quest of becoming an Oracle database administrator is not too difficult. You just need to be calm. You need to stick to what you know, and you need to be what sincere. If you go for any Oracle DBA interview, the first question they'll ask you is, tell us about yourself. And in this case, when you are being told this simple question, the first thing you have to sell yourself. Sell yourself in the sense that you have to tell them who you are, what a little bit about your personal and educational background, but you have to lay more emphasis on what you know, as in the type of Oracle applications you've used, whether you are using SQL developer, Oracle Enterprise Manager, Recovery Manager, Data Pump. You have to tell them about the Oracle applications you have used. When you lay emphasis on this, the employer will have an insight that you really know what you are doing, that you really know about Oracle. Secondly, the second question they may ask you about questions on Oracle Data Guard, with application cluster. But let me not bore you with those, because those are actually the senior or the experienced question they ask you. But one technique you should use when you go for Oracle interviews is this. There's what we call accelerate to retaliate principle. This means that when they ask you a question, you have let's say they ask you about backup. Yes, and what backup strategy do you use in your company, or what backup strategy do you know about? The first thing you should do is that you should tell them what backup is. Then you should tell them the backup type that you know, whether it's full backup or what differential backup. And when I talk about differential backup, we have incremental level zero backup or incremental level one backup. You have to explain to them about what backup is. Then you still need to go a little bit further in explaining um, other technology related to backup, which is, for example, data guard. Why do you do backup? You actually do backup to prevent data loss. What are the type of data loss that we have, or what are the causes of data loss that we may have? You may have network failure, user failure, application failure, security issues. Different factors can lead to a failure. And why do we need to back up? We need backup because you want to prevent issues of downtime. You want to maintain our ability. You can even talk about data guard also, which is actually a principle that has three main features, which is high availability, data protection, and data recovery. They may ask you what are the three modes of data guard. You tell them that there are three modes. You have maximum protection, maximum availability, and maximum performance. If they ask you what is the default mode for data guard, you tell them is maximum performance. They may also ask you a question relating to what are the steps in data guard. You just reply them by telling them that there are actually three. We have let me mix it up. We have standby. I'll remember later. I think I'm mixing it up. Yes, but you tell them the three steps, and if you can't remember, yes, you tell them you can't remember. If they ask you about what real application cluster principle, which one have you applied? Well, if you don't know, tell them you don't know. It's not into other affair. It's better to be sincere and tell them that okay, you've not usually practiced or implemented real application cluster. Um, you may tell them that maybe your senior colleagues in office are the ones that know much about it. Fine. An employer will always want to employ someone that is sincere and straightforward. If you don't know, you don't assume, don't give a false answer. But the fact is that when you give a false answer, what it actually do is that you make them to lose interest in you. So because it means that if you have been employed, if they give you something to do, and you may end up gambling with what answers. In IT, You have to be straightforward. If you know the technology, implement. If you don't know, be straightforward. So next time, I think I've really buttressed and implemented much about Oracle DBA questions. Sometimes they may go lower by asking simple questions like what is the Oracle architecture? What about this Oracle instance? What are background processes? What are Oracle database structures? Just attend the basic things that you know. You may ask you what's different between system global area and that's SD, program global area. Just tell them the process of implementing or practicing or responding to Oracle DB interviews is quite easy. You need to be confident. You can't know everything. Yes, and you have to stick to what you know. Then also importantly, I think I need to buttress on this also. Um, when you go for interviews, you have to focus on concepts, not commands, because the fact is that nobody can know all the commands, but you can know the concepts. So you have to what understand the backup strategy concepts, grid application concept, data guard concepts. What are the concepts in writing SQL statements? You have to focus on concepts. You understand? If you forget any code, actually you can go to any ebook or video and can refresh your memory. But you have to understand concepts. I think understanding concepts is very, very, very important in Oracle because your primary role as an Oracle DBA is to ensure that the database is intact, is properly maintained, there's less downtime, there's high availability, there's data protection, there's database performance. So you have to ensure that you exhibit a high level of confidence, and also you also make the employer know the that you know about it. And if they give you a question that you don't know, just tell them you can't remember, or what you've not really what implemented this technology. Oracle is wide, but it's a very great database management software, and that's why it's actually the foremost database software that we have available now. If you compare Oracle to Microsoft SQL Server or MySQL or PostgreSQL or Sybase or IBM, Oracle is still the best in terms of